Well, I've made a lot of videos here on this channel, and I have given you the notion that I am caring for metaphysics, and that I care about metaphysics, and I believe that it is a favorable thing to engage in, and it's one that gives fruitful results. But I have not really discussed metaphysics. It's mostly been epistemology. So it's mostly been epistemology because I've been pissed off at epistemology for shitting on metaphysics, especially because of the logical positivist era. And then after that, well, then that was the bad part of the metaphysical history, and then you had analytical philosophy that kind of felt things go from there. But I've been asked questions about metaphysics, and which caused me to stumble upon this book by E.J. Lowe, who is a very established metaphysician. He has this book called The Possibility of Metaphysics, and also the Survey of Metaphysics. And I'm reading The Possibility of Metaphysics because it addresses the objections to the whole study of metaphysics. And in the first part, he addresses the objections to studying metaphysics, and he addresses the objection to saying that metaphysics doesn't achieve anything, and he addresses all these things. And first, it all relates to science. And first, metaphysics, it relates to science. Because I want to define science from a phenomenological perspective. Phenomenology, I've talked a lot about that here. Phenomenology is the science of sciences, because phenomenology is the study of our phenomena, and it's the study of sciences. Now, science, why do we do science? Why do we engage in scientific experiments? Why do we have chemistry, physics, and biology, and all this stuff? It's because we have phenomena, and we experience these phenomena, and we don't have an answer for why certain things happen. We don't have an answer for why something falls, for why a rock falls off a roof. We don't have explanation for why a certain acid reacts with a certain base or something. I don't know chemistry, so that's just an example. We don't have explanations for that. So we conduct scientific experiments, and this is why we have science. We have science because we have phenomena that we experience that we have no understanding of. So that's why we have science. Now, relating the whole idea of science to metaphysics, metaphysics has been objected to it because we have metaphysics studies the material reality of what we see. Now, there's epistemological and all these objections saying that we don't have any bond to the real object. This is all just representation. This is all just representations. It's all phenomena that is not connected to the real object. If I see a marker, I'm just seeing a phenomena of a marker, not the real object. So that's why metaphysics is objected to, because people say that, or philosophers and epistemologists say that metaphysics can't do shit because we can't know about the real object. So now if saying that we can't know, now here's what I think. Saying that we can't know a real object, saying that we can't know the real material eidetic object, if that's true, then we should backtrack the whole course of science. We shouldn't have science if this is why you think metaphysics should be rejected, just because we don't have for sure knowledge of the actual object. If this is why they think that, then we should backtrack the whole progress science has had. That if we should just forget science and never do anything else with science ever again, because that's what science tries to do. Is science tries to figure out figure out actual truths about that material reality. So, which gives metaphysics a purpose, because there's things that science cannot accomplish. Science cannot accomplish certain things. Science cannot accomplish. There's many things that we can't figure out with science. There's many things that we can't get at through scientific experience. We can't get at God through scientific experiments. We can't get at. There's a lot of things that we can't get at. We can't get at universals through experiments. We can't get at certain things with scientific experiments. So this is why we have metaphysics. Now that sounds crazy that science can't do everything, but it can't do everything, which is why we have metaphysics. Metaphysics is merely some adjustment of terminology, calling things universals, particulars, properties, laws of nature, tropes, all these different things. It's merely an adjustment of terminology so that we can look at things differently, look at the world in terms of particulars, properties, universals, tropes, and all these things, so that we can do some things that science can't. Now, a lot of people reject metaphysics because metaphysics claims to declare truths, but metaphysics, if metaphysical philosophy has ever declared truths, then it's not responsible metaphysics. Metaphysics should only declare possibilities. Metaphysics should declare what could possibly be. Now, if we declare what can possibly be, this can lead to scientific experiments about it. Metaphysics should be only there to declare what is possibly there, because we can't figure out if there's a universal for color. We can't figure out if there's a universal. We can't figure out if there's a determinate property for scarlet with red. We can't figure out those things. So metaphysics is only there to declare possibilities, metaphysics should not be declaring certainty. Certainty should not be in the field of metaphysics at all, and if it has been, then that's irresponsible. This is what Lowe says. Lowe's characterizing metaphysics as this, and he's saying that metaphysics should be that the metaphysics is a worthwhile field of study because of these things. I really like Lowe's discussion of this, because it gives me something to say when somebody says, what the hell does metaphysics have to do anything? How can metaphysics do things that science can? If science can't do something, then it's a lost cause. And people, I said that metaphysics sucks because of this and this, and they say metaphysics is shit, so it doesn't matter anyway. So this is one thing in Lowe's book, E.J. Lowe's book, Possibility of Metaphysics, and I'm going to go on to discuss some objects and entities to actually bring in the field of metaphysics on this channel. So that's my rant on why metaphysics is worthwhile, because of these things. So I hope you have an awesome day, because I'm all riled up and pissed off now.